Okay, so we have our ring stand set up. We've got our burner here on the plate, right? We've got our ring stand here that we can move up and down. So our clay triangle, can see that our crucible fits nicely inside of our clay triangle. So we're going to put our clay triangle on here. We can grab a crucible with our tongs. We can set it in there. Now, when we go to heat a crucible, remember I said they're made of clay. They crack really easy, especially in really quick changes in heat. So what we want to do is we want to light our burner. Right? Now, if you remember, I said that the very top of the inner cone is the hottest part, and that's eventually where we might want it if it says direct heat. If it says indirect heat, then something like this might be fine. Right? But regardless of whether you have direct heat or indirect heat, you should always start with some indirect heat, some light heat when we're heating this. This might be a little high up, but we can raise it or lower it down to about here or so, right? Actually, maybe a little higher than that, right? And we're going to let it sit there here for probably a minute or so, just to start to heat up. If we put it right in the hottest part, then it's going to it may very well crack. So once we've heated it with indirect heat, we can then go ahead and lower it to the direct heat. This is the hottest part of the flame. Okay? And we can move things This is the direct heat. This is as hot as you're going to get this, and you can then let this sit here for pretty much as long as you want, because this is a great. The reason we use clay is because it can withstand really high temperatures. So when it's time to let this cool, when your lab instructions tell you to let it cool, set it here and let it cool just like this. Leave it on the clay triangle. I know that there's probably some thoughts of maybe taking it off of the clay triangle and then setting it right on the lab bench, but that actually could make it crack. So let it set here and let it cool right here. And once again, I would suggest letting this cool for at least 5 minutes before you try to touch it. And still after 5 minutes, make sure we use our crucible tongs to pick it up and to move it. Do not try to touch it with your hands. It gets very hot. And even if you've got the lid on, don't try to take the lid off with your bare hands. It gets really hot.